off your head. Return of the Nephilim. Return of the Nephilim. He's a barbaric bloke. Beats all you ever seen, but he ain't no joke. He's the Nephilim. Tossing round bodies like a baby's toy. His Anunnaki daddy says, that's my boy. He's got a tattoo of an all-seeing eye. And if he sees us, we're all gonna die.
OCO. Good morning, America. I hope you're doing fine. Now, I was gonna throw in a video with some information on some Nephilim. I can't find it right now, but on another live stream, the next one, if I remember, I will. You know, if you remind me, if I forget, I will do this on the Nephilim. But and a lot of people don't realize that basically when you're looking at the original Hebrew and the meanings of the definition of Nephilim, think of it as, we would probably put it like mixed breeds, half human. And that's what the Nephilim were. They were half breeds. They were half human. They were half angels, fallen angels, and half human. But today, it doesn't, you know, which we come to know them as giants, right? But today, yeah, there's in some places exist these giants, but generally they can look almost human, and they can also be mixed with animal and part human or whatever, you know. I tell you, those fallen angel guys were some sickos, really. I mean, sick. And they're still sick. So, anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play something here. It's from the End Time Productions. You can go over, subscribe to them. You know, now I know some of you might agree with some of the things they say and, you know, opinions. And like all things, you might not agree with everything I say either. You know, but the thing is you look for facts. This is the most important thing, is the facts. And they hit some amazing facts on End Time Productions. And so, you know, hey, you can go subscribe to them, check them out. Great people over there. So be sure you show them some love too. And to Songwriters Cove, which from the opening was a song, The Return of the Nephilim, and it comes from Songwriters Cove. It's a new channel, and you can go over and show them some love, check them out and everything. So, yeah, and tell them Warhorse from the Straight Up and Forward channel, and also the Cherokee Outlaw channel, has sent you his or their way. You know what I mean, jelly beans? All right, here we go, and we're going to start this out with, this is about, well, you listen.
Admitted that they have recovered off-world objects not made on this earth.
But apparently, just recovered are off-world vehicles not made on this earth. That's a direct quote.
You see, if you want to know the truth about UFOs, you actually have to look in the Bible.
The universal story agrees with the record of every major culture of the ancient world in which the astonishingly consistent story is told of gods that descended from heaven and or came through spiral vortices to materialize in bodies of flesh. From Rome to Greece, and before that to Egypt, Persia, Assyria, Babylonia, Sumer, the earliest records of civilization tell of the era when powerful beings known to the Hebrews as watchers, and in the book of Genesis as the B'nai Ha-Elohim, the sons of God, mingled themselves with humans, giving birth to part celestial, part terrestrial hybrids known as Nephilim.
And let me just say that this is very interesting. Now, you know, a lot of people don't understand that there are a lot of written things in history that can verify this. And the Bible and books that are associated with the Bible, or, you know, as my people would come to call it, the Book of Heaven. But anyway, this is interesting because, you know, a lot of people think, well, all right, if there was giants, now I'm talking about the way people think, they don't exist no more, but they do. Problem is, you know, you have governments and other people out there that cover this stuff up. No, this is not conspiracy theories. It's just facts. And, but we all have our thoughts and opinions on all of this. But, you know, I'm just sharing something with you to consider about UFOs, aliens, and, you know, Nephilim. All right. And by the way, apparently I did find the right piece that I was looking for, and I'm showing it now. So, yeah, okay, because this covers a lot of information. All right. So, yeah. And here we go. Let Tom Horn continue talking.
The Bible says this happened when men began to increase on earth and daughters were born to them, when the sons of God saw the women's beauty, and they took wives from among them to sire their unusual offspring. I believe a record of this is recorded in Genesis 6:4, when it says there were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them. The same became mighty men which were of old, men of renown.
Now, mind you, let me interject here, okay? When it talked about the daughters of men, now you got to understand. Now, during that time of history, all right, before the great flood, all right, and it was sometime even after, but that mankind, men and women, were taller than what they are now. I would, this is just to give you an idea, so to speak, that the average height back then for a regular human, okay, would have been estimated from like 7 foot to about 8.5 feet, something like that, you know, on an average. But after the flood and everything else that was going on and what have you, well, yeah, things, this is my wording, decreased, you know. Things got smaller, plants got smaller, people got shorter and stuff, so, you know, what have you. And then you got to go in about genetics and stuff, and I'm not one to sit there and have patience with big $10,000 words and stuff. But, you know, see, that's why women at that time could give birth to giants, but the babies, you know, giant babies. But problem was is that it got to a point, though, even but after the flood, that women that would give birth to these giants, children, they would die. But mind you, these giants were people eaters. They introduced cannibalism. Mankind didn't just do it. I mean, it was introduced to them. So, yeah. But, you know, hey, y'all guys know me. I just give you, you know, my info, what I think. And I just talk plainly. I'm not a one of these guys who gets around wearing a suit and a tie and lives in a big mansion or a big, huge, fancy condo and drives you know, a Ferrari and all this other kind of stuff. Blah blah blah. You know, I'm not one of these kind of guys that can talk real fancy and all that. I'm just a simple person here. But all right, let's continue. Hold on.
At least one of them was part of an archaeological dig. It's old. At least one of them is old. I don't know if it was the one I worked on, but I remember something to do with an archaeological dig. That means it's not just old, it's ancient.
But what does that mean? It's actually more simple than you might think. What you're about to hear is the very best explanation I've ever heard. It's from my interview with Timothy Alberino, and unfortunately, the video part of this conversation was corrupted in the memory card, and the only thing that was left is my backup audio.
Now, this Alberino, pay attention what this guy knows what he's talking about, you know. Now, would I say I agree with everything that he says as far as his personal beliefs, as far as personal? I can't say I agree with everything, but he goes beyond here on personal. He's given facts, all right? And that, my friends, let me reiterate, facts is what you want to listen to. Is what you want to research in things. So you got to look it up for yourself and check it out yourself, okay? But the truth is out there. Hey, was that somewhere before on some movie or show? Yeah, Bob. I think that was on what was that? X-Files. Yeah, you know, I mean, X-Files. So, yeah. All right, let's continue.
Make sure you listen to the very end, because what you're about to hear has never been said like this.
Giving you a chance to read, all right? All right.
What we have in the Genesis 6 affair are extraterrestrial interlopers who are descending to the earth from some extraterrestrial realm. And they're likely descending to the earth on the summit of Mount Hermon, almost assuredly at the helm of advanced aerospace vehicles. In other words, they're showing up in what we would call UFOs, perhaps even saucers. And there's this misconception that angels have wings, and that when they picture these angelic beings, these watchers descending to the earth, that they're flapping their wings and they're landing like storks or something like that, which is complete nonsense. The watchers showed up in advanced aerospace vehicles, and they had high technology with them. A technology that's probably many, many centuries more advanced. It's important to understand that when we talk about the watchers, what we are referring to is an angelic race of beings. This is a race. And when I say the elder race, I am in fact referencing the angels, those beings. And when we think about those beings, the elder race, we should not be thinking about quote unquote spiritual beings, ethereal beings with wings who just transport themselves around by magic basically, or flap their wings and, you know, are these very ethereal creatures. Rather, we should think about angels, and this is a biblical perspective. This is not a sci-fi perspective. This is a biblical perspective. We should think about angels as extraterrestrial beings. They are extraterrestrial. The term extraterrestrial simply means not from the earth, a provenance other than the earth, an origin other than planet Earth. Well, that's given. We know that that's the case within the biblical narrative, because the angels pre-existed the earth. The sons of God pre-existed the earth. So they're obviously not from the earth. They're not earthborn. We are earthborn, and the Nephilim are also earthborn. That's part of what the term means. Earthborn. That's part of what the term in Greek for giant means. Earthborn. So we are specifically earthborn. Our provenance is planet Earth. Angels are not earthborn. Their provenance is not planet Earth. They are from elsewhere in the universe. They are therefore, by definition, extraterrestrial. Terrestrial meaning Earth. They are extraterrestrial. They are from elsewhere in the cosmos. They are also alien. They're not human. So they also fit the description of alien. These are not anti-biblical terms. These are accurate terms that correctly define these beings. They are extraterrestrial, and they are alien to the human species. And they are in possession of advanced technology, including advanced aerospace vehicles, i.e. UFOs, what we call UFOs. So they have knowledge. They have more knowledge of the universe than we do. That means they have more knowledge pertaining to chemistry, pertaining to physics, pertaining to mathematics, pertaining to astronomy, much more knowledge than we do. And they have derived much more advanced technological implements than we have. Number one, this race, the elder race, has been around a lot longer than us. Mankind was created to be a little lower than the heavenly beings and the angels. So biologically speaking, cognitively and physically, our physiology is lesser than theirs. Their physiology is greater than ours. In other words, biologically speaking, they are superior to us. Without their technology, just biologically speaking, they are superior to us. They are a superior race. But then when you throw in their knowledge and their technology, they are also far more technologically advanced than we are. Angels are not traversing the heavens in horse-drawn chariots. Horses don't fly. They're not like Santa Claus flying through the sky, with a sled being pulled by reindeer. Angels are navigating the heavens in advanced aerospace vehicles, in saucers and the other UFOs. But they're not the only ones. So my perspective of the antediluvian world, the world before the flood, is a little bit different than a lot of other people's perspective. I don't imagine this world in which you just have mankind becoming very wicked and degenerate and committing all kinds of offenses against God.
Now, let me just interject right here, okay? Now, when he's talking about angels and describing them, he's correct. However, let me just say, now there are a lot of angels, they do not have wings. But there are some angels that do have wings. I mean, it's obvious. It is recorded. Some do, and there's some that don't. So, just need to throw that in. But no, the angels do not have butterfly wings. All right. Now, anyone who goes tell you that they had a dream or that they had a near-death experience and they was in heaven and they saw some people flying around with butterfly wings, you can take out that near-death experience was more or less a dream. It's like, even though there's been experts to say this, that even though that their machines, will register that your brain is not active. Your brain is still active for yay so long, and then there's nothing. But you listen to the time frame that these people had been reportedly dead, okay, and then that they've been brought back, you will find that, that they hadn't been dead long enough to be officially considered brain dead, actually. Some of these machines will say that they're brain dead, and then their brain still got some activity going on. You're in a dream state at that point. Not in every single case, but some cases. But I just thought I'd throw that in. All right, let's continue on with Tim Alvarino.
And then God just is angry with mankind because of his sin and sends a flood. The story is much more intricate than that. And quite frankly, much more interesting. What we have is a scenario in which the Watchers were the living gods walking among men. And their hybrid offsprings happened to be giants. And these giants were oppressing mankind. And as I said, because they were human hybrid offspring, because they were human Watcher hybrids, they had legal authority through the birthright of Adam. They had legal authority to govern the earth. And because they were giants, it was not difficult for them to overthrow every human potentate. It was the perfect plan, if you think about it, from the Watchers. How do we ensure that our human hybrid offspring can take dominion of the earth? Well, that wouldn't be very difficult if they were all giants. A league of giants who would have been looked at as demigods and worshipped. And the Watchers would have been worshipped as gods walking among men. And this was the scenario unfolding in the earth before the flood. And so you had the gods who were manifest, you had their hybrid offspring who were giants. They took dominion of the earth, and the gods, according to Greek mythology and to the mythologies of many ancient civilizations, the Greeks say that the gods apportioned among themselves the earth. They apportioned the earth among themselves. They divided it up, and they each became the rulers of their own kingdoms. And of course, I believe that the Greek mythology regarding the gods is a reference to the history regarding the Watchers, the true history of the Watchers and their hybrid sons. And so the Watchers set up a global empire. And each of them had their own kingdom, and their kingdoms were governed by their sons. Again, who were human enough to legally govern the earth. They usurped the dominion of mankind. And mankind was oppressed. They were living under the worst dystopia you can imagine. The giants, and according to the book of Enoch, men were required to feed the giants, to sustain them. And so, I don't know how many giants there were, but they were forcing the human inhabitants of the earth to feed them, to sustain them. And probably were bringing sacrifices and worshiping their fathers, the Watchers, and prostrating before their hybrid sons who were the kings over these empires, these giants. And eventually, when mankind could no longer satisfy the appetites of the giants began to devour mankind.
Now, you think about it. It's like I said, the giants the Nephilim were cannibals. They introduced cannibalism. You can go all around the world and you find in their stories, different countries of the people's stories and stuff, they tell about giants, among the indigenous peoples of Turtle Island, that is America. And not to mention, you got other people like in South America, in Africa, you name it. All the places around the world, period. I mean, they have stories about giants and them, they eat people. Even in some of the story of the what do you call, what is the name of that? Grimm's fairy tales, or Mother Goose stories, or whatever you mention about giants. Well, those stories are just stories in general as far as the children's stories go, but they do have a basis. They take something, you can make up a story, or take a story, original story, and add things to it along, make it more friendlier. I wouldn't call some of Grimm's fairy tales and stuff as quite child friendly, but anyway, you got my drift, right? You know what I'm talking about. That there is some, we can say, basis for this stuff. Really, seriously. I mean, there is some truth to it. I mean, it's just a fact. So I just thought, you should understand that, as that these things are real. These giants, they did exist and they still exist. But in modern days, it's not like you're going to go out and find one around every corner, because they're a lot smarter. They know what civilization is like now, modern times, and they've seen enough. And, in time they will reveal themselves, but it won't be pretty, as they say here in the South. But yeah, just keep that in mind, that these stories, these that you are hearing is true. But like I said, I'm not a fancy speaker. I'm just, just a down home boy. That will just come out and tell you in plain, simple layman's terms what I think, or about what's going on, and without using $10,000 words. So, all right, I'll continue. I'll shut up now.
Our men. And so it became this dystopic nightmare on Earth, in which not only was mankind working, slaving to provide food and sustenance for the giants, they then became the food. And it's likely, in my mind, that the Watchers were requiring of mankind human sacrifices that were to be brought to their hybrid sons. In other words, that each village or each city would have to produce human beings who would be brought to be consumed, to be devoured by the giants. And so this is a nightmarish scenario unfolding on the earth before the flood. It wasn't just that mankind was really sinful. It was that mankind was being devoured. Mankind was going to war with one another and killing and slaughtering each other in these massive wars that were taking place before the flood, and every kind of perversion and evil and corruption was rampant on earth, yes, but at the same time you have the Watchers and their giant sons who were devouring mankind and were governing the earth. And so the earth was usurped from the offspring of Adam, from the sons of Adam. And it's very interesting because both in the book of Genesis and also in the Enochian account, there's this phrase, and I'm going to get it wrong, so I'll paraphrase it, and mankind began to call upon the name of the Lord, or something to that effect. And it's at that point that the decision is made to send the flood. Why? Because you have the regents of the earth, mankind, whose authority, whose dominion was usurped by the hybrid sons of the Watchers, beginning to petition heaven. They're petitioning heaven. So this is like it's a response, it's a judicial response from the great judge who's looking down at what's happening on the earth. And in one sense, mankind was just reaping what he sowed. They struck this deal with the Watchers, and this is the result. And now they're suffering the consequences of their actions. But God has compassion. He hears the cry of mankind. He is sympathetic to the suffering that's happening on the earth as men are petitioning him for redress against the Watchers and their giant offspring. And God decides to intervene. And a judgment is pronounced from heaven, and God dispatches some angels to go and do various things. And what the angels do basically is one of them is charged with inciting the sons of the Watchers, the giants, to war with one another. And that's what happens. The giants go to war with one another. And so you can imagine these hybrid kingdoms ruled by these giants going to war with one another. This is what happened. And I don't think it was, big stupid Disney giants with clubs on their shoulders.
Right?
See, that's so true. They're not these clumsy giants. They weren't, and they're not clumsy. The giants, the Nephilim, could move around just as good as you or I, and they didn't run clumsily. They could run fast and move fast and fight like anybody else. So this is good information here. Like I said, now you might not agree with every little single thing that Tim Alberino and Tom Horn and them present, but you can't ignore facts, and this is what they present. When it comes to their personal opinions, now some of it you can agree with, maybe some of it you don't. Maybe you agree with all of it, who knows? But I find it's very informative. These men are not crazy. They're not these Bible thumpers. When I say Bible thumpers, that's these religious people. I'm not talking about people that are Christians, that are real Christians, but I'm talking about these people that like to call themselves Christians, and they're called Bible thumpers because they sure like to thump you real good with that Bible of theirs and try to ram stuff down you and condemn you and all this. But these men are not like that, but you catch my drift. You've probably met a few of those Bible thumpers. But just because a person is a Christian does not necessarily mean that they're a Bible thumper. A Bible thumper is someone who rams stuff down your head. Think of it like that if that's right, Westboro Baptist people and others like that, out there that are just crazy. It's gone to their head, and the whole time they condemn their own selves, and they make, they give true Christians out there a bad name. And there are true Christians. It's just that, people have used the word Christians so much that they abuse it some have abused it, should I say, and to a point to where some people don't like to be referred to as a Christian, even though that's what they are. They just don't like that word because people have violated that term, that word, that name. you get that. But anyway, yeah, I digress here, all right? My whole point here is that these guys give you facts, all right? And this is what we have to look at, is facts, all right? Now, I'm not intending to be on here long because I'm in pain, and this chair is not comfortable. I can't stay in it very long. Sometimes when I do end up staying in here too long, I suffer and pay for it in the end, so to speak. Yeah, I get paid back in fools. So that's no fun. So anyway, I'm going to let this go on here and let them finish here. Hold on. And let me get this. I'll get it right here. There we go. There we go. And let's...
I think this was a war involving technology. These were kingdoms ruled by the giant hybrid sons of the Watchers going to battle with one another, very likely with kinetic weapons of war. Another angel is dispatched to seize the Watchers and to put them in chains and to force them to watch the destruction of their sons as they go to battle with one another. And so this is the redress from the King of Heaven. He's going to cause the giants to go to war with one another and annihilate each other. This is before the flood. To annihilate each other, and he's going to force their fathers, their angelic fathers, to watch the destruction of their beloved sons. And this is what's unfolding on the earth in the pre-flood world. So it's like, the Lord of the Rings or something. It's these massive battles happening and nation against nation, but these nations are governed by hybrid giants, and they utterly destroy each other. When we think about technology, high technology in the antediluvian world, I don't believe that all of civilization was in possession of high technology or of advanced knowledge. In fact, the Book of Enoch gives us hints as to what the situation really was, and that is that the Watchers taught mankind certain things. They taught them how to make weapons of war and so forth. But they reserved the greater mysteries, the greater secrets for their sons, which is logical. If you want your sons to have supremacy, you're going to imbue them with better knowledge and with better technology so that they can maintain dominance over the rest of the population, and also their wives. They also taught their wives. So the way that I look at the pre-flood world is, rather than saying, well, there was an advanced civilization, the most accurate way to contemplate this situation is that we're dealing with something like a Bronze Age or an Iron Age civilization, generally speaking. But within this civilization was a fraternity of beings who were exceedingly advanced. And the best way to illustrate this, I think, is to reference the movie Stargate. Do you remember the original Stargate? Not the TV series, I never saw it, but the movie, the original Stargate with Kurt Russell, in which they go through this Stargate and they go to another planet. And on this planet, wherever it is, there is a Bronze Age civilization. They encounter a Bronze Age civilization that would be very much like the ancient Egyptians. Indeed, in that movie, it was the ancient Egyptians who were brought there. So it was this Bronze Age civilization. But who was ruling over this Bronze Age civilization? A technologically advanced extraterrestrial race. And this fraternity within this civilization was in possession of advanced technology, whereas the Bronze Age people had swords and whatever. This fraternity, this extraterrestrial fraternity, had these rods that were shooting plasma, and they could fly. Their pyramid was a ship or whatever. So that's the way that I contemplate the pre-flood world. You have a Bronze or perhaps a Iron Age level civilization. That's the majority of the populace. They're worshiping the Watchers as gods, and they're prostrating before their giant sons as the potentates, the kings of the earth, and the sons and the wives of the Watchers, and the Watchers themselves are operating advanced technology. So the Watchers are flying around in saucers, and their sons are in possession of advanced technology, and their wives are in possession of advanced technology. These are gods among men. So when those kingdoms go to war with each other, it's a kinetic war. It's a war in which technology is being deployed. That's the way that I conceptualize the pre-flood world. Now, is that the way it really was? I don't know. But it doesn't make sense to me that there was a situation in which the masses of mankind were in possession of advanced technology. Why? Because we would find more evidence of that. And so this is the golden age of yore, which is referenced by every primary ancient culture on Earth in different...
All right, I'm going to drop it there. And the thing is, you can go to End Time Productions and check it out, all right? And, yeah, you can check out all their videos and things there, and also be sure you also go to Songwriters Cove, check them out, show them some love there. All right, and I want to say I thank you for watching, and please, share your thoughts and your comments, you can agree or disagree or, whatever, just share your thoughts, okay? And I want you to know that I do love you guys. I thank you very much for, your prayers. I'll tell you what, it's been really hard, and, with all this pain and stuff, and sitting in this chair for too long, I suffer for it. I pay for it. And I think I was really been on here too long already, So, but please share your thoughts and, share this out, comment, and if you haven't subscribed, hit like, and all that good stuff, and, yeah, here I haven't even had breakfast yet. Yeah. And it's 9:38 a.m. here in the state of Arkansas. We're on Central Time. If you're on the East Coast, we're 1 hour behind you. And all that good stuff. Yeah. All right, yeah. But I'm going to end with this song that came, mind you, this has come from the Songwriters Cove, and it's called The Return of the Nephilim. Yeah, and you got to check it out. And so I'm going to end with this, and I hope you like this. It goes right along with what we were talking about, what was discussed on the video. And so be sure to do that, people. And all right, and here we go. I love y'all, and please listen to this before you go. All right, and here we are.
He's gonna come over that hill any minute. He got a big fat belly with dead people in it. 60 feet tall with a vengeance to kill. You better start running, Jim. He's the Nephilim. He's been locked in the earth 5,000 years, waiting for the day he could come back here, remembering the ones that left him for dead, so he gets his revenge. edge biting off your head. Return of the Nephilim. Return of the Nephilim. He's a barbaric bloke, beats all you ever seen, but he ain't no joke. He's the Nephilim. Tossing round bodies like a baby's toy. His Anunnaki daddy says, that's my boy. He's got a tattoo of an all-seeing eye. And if he sees us, we're all gonna die. With a stuttering voice, and when it came to ladies, didn't have much choice. He bought a place in Egypt just to find him a queen, but it all turned out to be a pyramid scheme. Return of the Nephilim. Return of the Nephilim. He's a bona fide boss, beats all you ever seen. He's the Nephilim. Return of the Nephilim. Return of the Nephilim. He's a mountainous maverick, beats all you ever seen, and he came to wreak havoc. He's the Nephilim.